All right, welcome back. Yep, you're watching Liquid Lunch. Welcome. It's just starting to get through hour 2 here, and lots going on, lots to talk about. We are in an era where this angry mob, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and all these other collateral organizations that are all seemingly banding together to occupy towns and, demand that statues be removed and famous old food family members get taken out of our customs and society, and it's getting crazier by the minute. And for those of us who live in New York, if you ever traveled to New York, there is probably one of the most recognizable destinations in New York City. You got the Freedom Tower, the Empire State Building, you got the New York Stock Exchange, you got the bull. Everybody just says, oh, where's the bull? When they're walking down the street, this big giant brass bull made by a great artist, donated to New York City. It sits at the bottom of Broadway, and there's always a crowd of people that want to ride the bull. And recently they tried to move the bull, and one man who's quite the bull when it comes to attorneys himself, Manny Alicandro, great friend of the show, consigliere to Liquid Lunch, and candidate for New York City public advocate, legal analyst. He's the host of Manny's Take on Flicks. He's also doing some stuff with New Right Networks. Manny, you're like a mega media mogul over there. But somewhere in the middle of this, you found time to go out there and fight for the bull. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, John. Thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I was walking down William Street, and I literally saw a sign on a pole. I mean, look, we're in New York City, right? I'm on all the different social media platforms. I read the newspapers voraciously. I literally see a sign on a pole that there's supposed to be a public hearing that was scheduled for June 15th of this commission in the city of New York called the Public Design Commission. And what they were going to discuss and vote on was to move the Charging Bull from its present location at Bowling Green to Broad Street by the New York Stock Exchange. And I wasn't happy, in all honesty, about it. It means a lot to me. You're absolutely correct. To me, it's one of, if not the most iconic monuments, locations in New York City. And it's actually beautiful where it is aesthetically, because Bowling Green is some type of triangle, effectively. So the bull does look like it's charging because it's open on both sides and in the back. So aesthetically, it would have been problematic in terms of what the bull would look like being placed on Broad Street by the New York Stock Exchange. It would just look like an ornament of the New York Stock Exchange, right? The fearless girl is there. So I got more involved in this and found out what was going on, and I got in touch with Arturo Demotica, who's the artist, and he retained me. Fortunately, the June 15th Public Design Commission hearing was canceled, and they claimed to have some difficulties with Zoom. Obviously, they're doing everything remotely, so they rescheduled for June 22nd. I was fortunate enough to get in touch with the artist, the sculptor, who's a tremendously successful, famous individual, and he retained me as his lawyer, and I argued before the Public Design Commission on June 22nd. Now, I'd like to mention the fact that these Public Design Commission hearings usually occur monthly, right? So we had a meeting on June 15th. You would assume, okay, it's Corona pandemic. We're still in lockdown. Who knows what phase it is, right? We're going to have the next meeting in July. No, New York City, wanted to move forward and have this thing on June 22nd. But we were prepared. And we challenged, well, firstly, I challenged the jurisdiction of the Public Design Commission. The interesting story about Charging Bull is Arturo Demotica still owns the bull. So it's a great art story. Demotica, dropped off the bull in front of or underneath the Christmas tree at the New York Stock Exchange in 1989. And this was all public. People could look it up. It's a tremendously interesting story. The NYPD picked up the bull, and then Demotica worked it out with New York City. Mayor Koch was the mayor at the time, and Henry Stern was the parks commissioner, that the bull would be placed where it's presently located at Bowling Green. So I argued, hey, Public Design Commission, if you read your rules, right, under the New York City Charter, Part 37, it talks about you having jurisdiction over monuments and pieces of art that the city owns. You don't own it. This guy owns it. The artist owns it. So he is passionately against it, right? He's saying, look, and he's in Sicily still. He's close to 80 years old because of COVID. He's in Sicily, but he's vehemently, passionately against it. Don't move my charging ball. Okay, I mean, he sent them letters. He's communicated, and lo and behold, they were trying to relocate it to the New York Stock Exchange. Now, what was their rationale? They had two main arguments. One, it was a threat from a terrorism perspective. Okay, so all of a sudden now the bull has become a terrorist threat, and the NYPD is concerned. No one from the NYPD showed up to testify.
Wait,
so I just
I don't know what you can disclose. I'm a lawyer client, Manny, but let me jump in here for 1 minute. Are they alleging that there's some intelligence they have that the Taliban is getting together and say, okay, boys, we're gonna blow up the bull?
We don't even know. So essentially they have, they have a hearing. So they have the commissioners. They have 11 commissioners, and then they have the proposal. The proposal was, and this is all public. People could check it out on their website, Public Design Commission. They had a testimony of someone from the Department of Transportation. The first argument was it poses a risk, the bull, charging bull, to pedestrians, people walking by. They could get hit by a car. And I question, well, has anybody gotten hurt? This is not like Queens Boulevard, God forbid, right? Where people really get hurt, right? And
no, it's tricky down there. There's a stoplight. The street's forked. I mean, you got to really, you got to be on drugs to get hit by a car down there.
No, John, no one got hurt. The city's doing this preemptively. The DOT, Department of Transportation, is doing this preemptively. I'm like, wait a minute. You have nothing else to do preemptively but create a fake hazard that it poses a traffic hazard to pedestrians. Okay, so we shot that one down. Then the second one was this terrorism thing. So, unfortunately, as I mentioned, no one from the NYPD showed up to testify. If this is a major terrorist threat to New York City in that location, why wasn't someone there from the NYPD to testify about the nature of the threat and what the threat is? Secondly, if it's such a terrorist threat and terrorists really want to do something to the bull itself, charging bull, wouldn't it be more of a terrorist threat on Broad Street?
Yeah, to put it in front of the New York Stock Exchange on top of it. Right now, it's like kind of in the middle of the street next to a park. It is pretty nuts. You know what I think, honestly? De Blasio's got it in for that bull. If you remember, about a year and a half ago, Northern Trust or State Street Bank sponsored the little girl, the little bronze girl, and when the Me Too movement started.
Yes.
And they put it in front of the bull. It's like de Blasio, that's a sign of capitalism or something to him, and he wants it like out of the streets. He wants it hidden. He wants to cage our bull, Manny.
It's pretty scary how, I actually put something on LinkedIn that I was happy with the decision. We were in New York Post, we're in Art News, we got some fair press from this. I did Joe Piscopo's show, and I put it on my LinkedIn, and someone said to me, as a comment directly to me, don't we have more important things to worry about right now? And the point is, yeah, we do. And then why is the city moving forward with this formal commission hearing when we are not able to be prepared? There were three items on the agenda. Two before the charging bull, right?
Got it. Manny,
nobody publicly testified because no one knew the meetings were scheduled.
We got to leave it there, brother. We're out of time. Thank you so much. You're the man. And no matter what, when Manny's on the job, the bull stays in the picture. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. I'll call you later.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me on.
You stay right there. Quick break. Back after this.